Hello everybody, welcome to Exploring with Edna. So, unfortunately my big Galaxy 959 is no longer functional. I'm not sure quite what's wrong with it at this moment. I might invest more time and money into it later. But because the repair cost versus the replacement cost of a basic unit for now, I decided to get another unit. So in this video we're going to be discussing just simply the installation of a CB radio, the steps, starting from antenna into the unit real fast, but those are going to be really summarized. So obviously step number one, you need an antenna. So my 102-inch whip, then a hood mount that has coaxial going all the way through the engine bay and into the cab, which will follow that cable later right down there. Then the power comes from my fuse box from here all the way over into the same area. Then also a fun addition I did just recently was the PA speaker, as you can see it down here. That just has a simple 2-wire connection going all the way in, over, and in through the same hole. Then we get into the actual cab itself. The power comes in from up here through all this mess, goes over to the switch panel. Got an on-off button here, master control for the CB radio power. Comes from the switch back over to over here, and then up the umbilical, I like to call it, for the positive negative. Also the coaxial, obviously through here, the PA speaker. That generates the cords that go up here to the actual CB radio. Got my external speaker for better sound output. This is just simply a Uden Pro Nut 505 XL. Very basic little unit, but has pretty good reviews. So going through the next steps, given the steps that you have some sort of mounting surface, the CB radio mounted, we want to check the SWR before you start transmitting on the guy. And also the power, which is a little hard to see, is connected without a connector. It's just a butt connectors right up here. So let's go to the next step. Alright guys, so the next step, like I said, you don't want to broadcast with an improper SWR. That if you got an SWR that's out of control, you need to adjust the antenna. That depends on the antenna on the still whip. I've never had to do any adjustments. That's why I like them, but they're also very cumbersome in their size. So most folks who are using fire sticks or say magnet mounted antennas, those all have adjustment procedures to lower the SWR. I'd recommend you look up those procedures if you have high SWR. So to check that, we need something, if a radio does not have one, called an SWR, and this is also a power meter as well. That's just an added bonus. We're just using it for SWR today. So on the back of it here, you have a cable for the transmitter and a cable going to the antenna. So we're going to unscrew from the back of the radio the coaxial. It's going to look a little awkward because I got to hold this pretty close up to here. But you can see I'm screwing that into the antenna, and on this end goes into the radio itself. And if you're, for the sake of the video, I'm doing this after I've already checked it, so we're going to be well within safe limits here. But normally if you do this before you secure all the cabling and whatnot, this is much easier to do. So with a view here of the meter for you guys, let's get that squelch up off there. So we want to go all the way down. You want to find the range where radio's SWR is. So when you're on channel 1, you first set it to the proper range. This is not a high power radio, so on this gauge 20 watts is okay, because CB legal limits, asterisks, are like 4 or 5 watts, something like that. But if you're using like a ham radio with extreme power, this goes all the way up to 2000. So we want to first go to calibrate and do the immediate one, the PEP I think they call it here. Then you press down the key on, then you go to the calibrate line, then you switch it to the SWR, and we see we have about a 1.5 SWR. Key off, you see it goes back down. So then what I mean by check range, so now I'm going to go to channel 40. I'm going to confirm the SWR calibration. Now I'm doing this at an angle, so sorry if it's off a little bit. Down to SWR and about a 1.3. Now doing this right now, I just realized if you look out the windshield here, I left my hood up and our doors are open. This could greatly affect our SWR. So before I say for sure that's my SWR, I'm going to close the hood and we're going to close the doors. The SWR is greatly affected by all conditions of the vehicle. Pardon the basic terminology, there's something called a grounding plane, and that's the main metal surface the antenna will use to broadcast. All this affects the SWR. So we're going to do the same thing. We're still on channel 40, so I go to calibrate and SWR. You see it's much better now. Hence, don't be a silly idiot like me and forget to put the hood down. Then we're gonna go to channel 1, check the other end of the range, and then switch. Yeah, we're down to about a 1.2, which is pretty darn good. You want to be as close to 1.1 as, or 1 to 1 as you can. And just as a extra set of precautions here, let's just browse to channel 20 here and check our mid-range. Yeah, about a 1.1 to 1.2, so pretty good. So once you have all that checked, you've confirmed we're SWR, it's not out of craziness, where grounds are working, etc., etc. You can run without a meter on there, which gets rid of this cumbersome little thing, and you're safe to broadcast, pending you have a working radio. I wish I had my sideband radio working, but at this moment I just don't have at least $100 to have a professional shop look at it, and quite frankly I don't know enough about the electronics inside of it to fix it. But there's not many CB shops, but the few that are out there usually have fair enough rates, but always price compare. Repair versus replacement. So in my means right now, it was cheaper to get this $39 unit right here. I got the PA speaker, it was $16, and that's just for fun. And that's where we'll end the video. I'll demonstrate the PA speaker for you guys. Alright, this is Exploring with Edna signing off. You guys have a good day, good afternoon, and good night wherever you're at.